from Denmark, Europe. Had to just go live on a new stream. Anyone who saw the first 10 seconds, I had to shut that down. All good in the hood. Yeah, good morning to MSTR Mondays. This is episode number 25. In this episode, I will explain why MSTR definitely does have a monopoly, but it is not what people think it is. I haven't heard anyone else talk about this at all. So my point is, a lot of people have been saying, well, strategy has a monopoly because they have the most Bitcoin and no one can catch them. A monopoly is when you buy and sell or service and no one else is doing that. The service is not the amount of Bitcoin you have on your balance sheet. The product is capital market products. It is ATM of common stock. It's convertible bonds, and it is preferred stocks. And clearly, none of these are a monopoly. It always starts with the common stock. And we have 20, 25 companies listed around the world now selling back common stock, Bitcoin accumulating company common stock. The preferred stocks are coming probably next up from Metaplanet in Japan, and convertible bonds are to some extent happening as well. No, and by the way, let me just quickly add that the price of Bitcoin is 107,000. The price of MSTR is $404. They hold 325 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, yet they have a market cap of 1,055,000 Bitcoin. That is, in my opinion, an attractive price on MSTR. I do believe that they will reach at least 2.1 million Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And the final end game MNAV of these backs will be the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, as well as the value of the enterprise, of the operating company revenue profit that they can generate from the Bitcoin they have in the balance sheet. And that will eventually likely look like banks. They'll all turn into the banks of the future, not the current fractional reserve Ponzi's that we're seeing with traditional banking. So in my opinion, I mean, it's early to say, but an end game MNAV of 2, I would say, is a likelihood, which means that would put, in my opinion, MSTR's end game market cap above 4 million Bitcoin. And as I said, right now their market cap, their value is 1,055,000 Bitcoin. So that is looking good. And at the same time, right now, I did a stream. I think it was Thursday or Friday, where I said I think strategy right now is an attractive buy, with a lot of upside and very little downside. It is very de-risked because money has been flowing towards the shiny new rocks, the rocket ships in Japan, in England, and to some extent in Sweden, with Metaplanet, SWC, and H100, and a bunch of other backs. So therefore, the MNAV of strategy dropped all the way down to 1.8, 1.9. Right now, according to the website, it's 1.95. We saw a nice pump yesterday. Reason being that they have now qualified completely 100% to be considered to be entered into the S&P 500. That is still a qualitative decision that needs to be taken by a board of people. And we don't know if there's some political reason that they say no. I believe it's a significantly above 50% chance, but there's no guarantee that they are included. We will know about the inclusion around the 5th of September. Historically, that would be the likely time, and the actual inclusion then would happen in September 19, 2 weeks later. Now it may be this time around, maybe it's next quarter, or is it every half year? I'm not 100% sure. But I do think that they're included. The interesting thing will be, will they be front run now, or will they be front run after the announcement? Will be interesting to see. But again, the MNAV at below 2, which is, I think, a reasonable in-game MNAV, makes strategy, I would say, very de-risked and very attractive at this point. Do I believe that Metaplanet will rise faster, that SWC will rise faster, that H100 will rise faster the remainder of the year? Highly likely all of them will. But the caveat there is also, if we have a Bitcoin bear market, a blow off top, according to the 4-year cycle, if it is still intact, which it is till this day, then that top will likely happen October, November. And that means this is a word of caution, any of these backs with an MNAV significantly higher than MSTR, be it 5, right now Metaplanet is 5.2, SWC is at, the last I have is 6.3 from the smartinvestmentguy.com. And H100 is also in that ballpark. So MNAV contraction in a bear market would destroy your portfolio if you don't hedge. My own focus for hedging against that. Obviously, I look every day, every week, and see how it plays out. I don't expect a top before October. So by time of 1st of October, I'll be very focused on it, and I'll, on this YouTube channel, of course, share my opinions on that, to keep everyone at least informed of my opinion. But it's not financial advice. Hey, Eric from Thailand, Huahin, good to see you there. Thanks for watching, brother. So in that situation, in order to hedge against downside, I have said before, and I'll keep saying it, likely will port significant parts of my small back portfolio into Strike, which has extremely limited downside, no risk. Yet, if there is no bull market if there's no bear market and the bull market continues, then we'll see it continue to go up. Strike, which, by the way, yesterday had an extremely blowout day, where it went from, I think, $107 when it started till $131 in the post-market, aftermarket hours, which is something I never thought I'd see for a fixed income product. I don't find Strike attractive not to hold it on straight up, as that is one of my investments, but on margin, shout out Dan Hillary, I find it interesting because I feel relatively safe having it on margin because of the very limited downside. Yet it's still, at the end of the day, like a 40% MSTR upside in it over time when MSTR runs above $1,000, which is just a matter of time, in my opinion. Anyways, let me get to the point. My point is, as I said in the beginning of the stream, strategies, monopoly is not the amount of Bitcoin that they have on the balance sheet. Speaking of Strike, speaking of Stride, speaking of Strife, the preferred stocks that are dividend yielding, the monopoly that they have, and which I actually believe no one will ever take from strategy, is the fact that they have income yielding preferred stocks that are backed by a hopefully soon S&P 500 company, which improves the credit rating, which significantly increases the speed of capital flowing into their preferreds, which allows them to buy Bitcoin on very accretive, attractive terms with zero or yeah, zero common stock dilution. And even though MetaPlanet is going to launch this, I mean, if anyone else launching it in the U.S. market, they won't be backed by an S&P 500 company. However, they would be backed by a very collateralized company like MetaPlanet with the amount of Bitcoin they have, and they're growing. But by the time, let's say, MetaPlanet enters S&P 500 or another Bitcoin treasury company, then Strategy already will have accumulated way more Bitcoin. So I believe the monopoly of having preferred stocks offered as an S&P 500 company with an extreme amount of Bitcoin on the balance sheet as collateral is a monopoly that they currently have and likely will have for the next couple of very important years in the game of accumulating Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I'm not saying that a MetaPlanet couldn't reach that. I think it's the one company that might be able to both get included in S&P 500 and also be super collateralized. But it's going to take some years to say, oh, we have a company with 600,000, wait, how much it up to? Yeah, 600, 700, 800,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and being S&P 500, and having a track record on the preferreds that Wall Street will enjoy. So, well, let me take it back and say it'll take a couple of years with MetaPlanet. It may take less because they are a fast-growing company. So that's the conclusion that I wanted to share. That Strategy has a monopoly on preferred stocks, which is super accretive for them to sell into Wall Street as hopefully very soon an S&P 500 company, if not now, then 3-6 months, with an extreme amount of Bitcoin on the balance sheets. That's the point. I think they're going to kill it with their preferreds. I could imagine in Q4 that they're selling $10 billion worth of preferred via the ATM Strive, which would allow them to, at the current price of Bitcoin, buy almost 100,000 Bitcoin a week. Say the price of Bitcoin is 200,000, well, then it's less. But I think we will see quite an interesting second half of 2025 for Strategy. Thank you very much for watching. Glad I kept it down to 13 minutes only. Have a wonderful Tuesday. And tonight I have, tonight European time, MetaPlanet Roundtable with Climb, Christina, and Blake. That is gonna go live on the same YouTube channel here at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's 11 a.m. Pacific. 2 hours after that, I'll get a small break. Then I'm going live with Tim Kotzman to talk about his digital Bitcoin treasuries digital conference